Hello, boxing fans. We're here with another news update. I'm Kurt Ward, and I'm joined by Paul Webb, Adam Smith, Alex Morris. We're going to be looking at the fight between Andre Dirrell and James DeGale for the vacant IBF title. Paul, it's looked upon as a 50-50 fight going in. I mean, how much chance are you giving DeGale to getting this win?
I think he's got a big chance. I think it is probably one of the most hard fights to call I can remember in a long time. I mean, the bookies I think are slightly favouring DeGale now, but it's very, very close. And I think because of their styles, because the fact that both of them haven't really achieved that sort of world title status, so they've both got very similar, tricky, slippery styles. DeGale, I think, is the bigger puncher. I think Dirrell's the better boxer. I think it's a really interesting fight. I don't necessarily think it's a very exciting fight. I think with being two southpaws, it might be a bit of a stalemate. But I think it's very interesting, and I think DeGale has got a real shot.
Adam, how are you viewing this fight? Do you think DeGale's got a good chance of doing it? It's going to be hard because it's obviously in America, Heyman fighter on a Heyman card. I mean, could be a close one on the points as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a difficult fight, and I think the hype machine of Sky Sports has been saying as much. Dirrell is a top quality operator, and certainly a very decent boxer, bronze medalist himself 4 years earlier than when James got his gold. But I'm going to sound like I've bought into the hype a little bit, but I just think this is DeGale's time. Um, I think, as I said the other day, he's made Eddie Hearn look like a promotional genius. He's come over from Big Mick. He's fought on two pay-per-view bills. He's looked sensational both times, but I think a lot of that's down to being injury-free. James DeGale was telling us previously when he was fighting and struggling on Channel 5 that when he gets injury-free, he'll be at his very best, and as it turned out, that's correct. Been watching a lot of the build-up videos for him and the training, and I must say, I think he looks really sharp and he looks ready to go. And Dirrell, really, as a matter of fact, since being blottoed by Arthur Abraham, albeit illegally, he's not really done much, has he? He's been certainly. I think he's only had one 12 round since the Abraham fight, which was in 2011.
Yeah,
Against
since that fight, he's only had five fights
yeah,
against much lower opposition. Momentum is with DeGale, isn't it?
yeah.
Coming off his last couple of
The,
wins.
the momentum's certainly with DeGale. I think initially he was disappointed to be having to go away from home to fight, but I think in a way it might have took a little bit of pressure off DeGale. He's gone over to Boston. It's not going to be as the hype machine and the attention isn't going to be as high as what it was if there was in the O2, for example. But yeah, I think I've just bought into it. I think this is DeGale's time. Um, and I think he could really could win by knockout here today and this weekend. Sorry, I know that Dirrell was coasting a little bit against Derek Edwards, but seriously rumbled in the last round. And Derek Edwards ain't no world beater, and that'll give DeGale a bit some confidence. I watched highlights of the Abraham fight last night, and Dirrell was downed in that as well, even though it wasn't officially counted. I don't think by the esteemed Lawrence Cole, who I believe was the ref on that night, and yeah, I think this is the one for DeGale. I think he's the man in this fight. As Paul said, it really is a 50-50 fight with the bookies. He's just gone odds on today, so DeGale is odds on across the board today with the British bookmakers, which is a big thing, really. He's away from home, and you can imagine that if he was at home, his price would be significantly shorter. But I know we've said about Heyman fighters, but just ask Jamie McDonnell how he got on against a Heyman fighter in America. I know not an American fighter, but Sean Porter as well. He got beat by another English fighter. I don't know if Porter's signed up to Heyman. I lose track, to be honest. But yeah, it is doable, and I think DeGale will do it.
Alex, we haven't seen much of Dirrell against top opposition since the Abraham fight. I mean, he's 31 years old now, and the Frotch and Abraham fight were obviously 5-6 years ago. I mean, is he the same fighter he was then? And if he is, how hard is it going to be for DeGale?
Yeah, it's obviously difficult to tell, really. Like you say, I mean, Dirrell really hasn't fought anyone of DeGale's level, let alone of Frotch and Abraham's level. Back then we supposedly lost against those two. The problem is, he hasn't fought the same opposition, so therefore we can't really tell what's up. And James DeGale, to be fair, he hasn't fought much better opposition. I mean, Brandon Gonzalez was a decent win. The fat overweight shadow of Marco Antonio Paraban it was a decent win. I mean, he's absolutely splattered both of them, and he looks shit hot doing so. So full credit to him for that, and he comes in with the momentum. My thoughts on this is, you mentioned, he won the bronze medal, 2004 Olympics. Do you know who he lost to in that Olympics?
Me,
Kazakh killer.
not a clue.
Is the
That's correct.
Kazakh?
The Kazakh killer himself, Gennady Golovkin. He lost to him in that. I just thought that was an interesting tidbit. And interestingly, I was looking up the sorry, I've got a bit of a cough going. I was looking up the odds of this fight, and you mentioned that DeGale slowly seems to be drifting towards being a favourite. But I was looking at the odds of Dirrell and Froch as well, because that seems to be like quite a similar fight to me. They're very equal foot in the betting. I think Froch was very close favourite at the time, and I think it was, yeah. Froch was a very close favourite, and Andre Dirrell was just the outsider, I believe. And I think the different dynamic in this is the fact that Dirrell's at home now, and he's still not the favourite necessarily. He's the outsider, isn't he? Just only by slightly. I mean, he is very slight, and I'm wondering how much of that, the home advantage will matter for this, because if DeGale can actually catch up to him and knock him out, then it's obviously inconsequential. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, we saw it with the Burns fight, and Heyman paid a lot of money for this fight. What was it? 3 million he paid for this, I think, or just shy of that. And we'll see. I suppose Dirrell's got that style that doesn't really appeal to any judges, unfortunately. So you would have to think that they were paid off, or they were given a brown envelope, or a quick nudge, or whatever. Or the cheers of the home fans were. Where is this fight being held? Boston, isn't it?
Yeah, Boston. Yeah,
Dirrell's
The
from
Gannis.
Dirrell's from
Michigan. Yeah, I mean that's
Flint.
sort of close, isn't it? But I mean, he'll be the home fighter simply because he's the US, and James DeGale really doesn't have much of a name for himself. But it's a good. I do rate DeGale's chances. I think he'll probably nick this one. I think he will win this, but you really have to consider all those intangibles. The fact that Dirrell will be on his home turf, and he is a better boxer. He's far more slick. He's far more fluid, and we saw what almost the fact that he had that close fight with Groves, and a fight that you figured that he probably should have been up for. DeGale, he should have been really up for that fight, and he really just got flustered and confused a lot of the time by what Groves was doing. And you think that Groves, for all the plaudits I tried to give him for what he did to Cocknose, I still think that Dirrell's a far superior boxer to him, and it could be a situation where DeGale just gets ran around the ring and made to look a bit silly.
Well, I think that's the biggest issue for me. I mean, I think Dirrell's going to win this fight, and the reason is I think DeGale's going to have to lead, because Dirrell is going to do what he always does. He's not called the running man for nothing. He's going to get on his track shoes. He's going to move. He's very good athletically. He's called the Matrix when he first came up, because he can just move in all different directions. He made Froch really miss a lot. Abraham couldn't get near him until the last couple of rounds, and I just think when Groves decided to go on the back foot, it completely confused DeGale for a lot of the fight, and he really struggled. Now Groves is a good boxer, but athletically and speed wise, he's nothing like an Andre Dirrell. I mean, I'm basing this on the Andre Dirrell that we saw a few years back. I mean, he's been winning these fights pretty easily, but he hasn't been facing the top opposition. I'm just wondering how DeGale's going to cope with being taking the lead. I think these two are pretty similar in stats wise, records, their height. They're both southpaws. I don't think it's going to be a very good fight for a casual fan, for instance. But I think Dirrell has got no problem stinking up the joint to win a fight. He's done that his whole career. He's been booed many times and he doesn't care. So I think it's going to be on DeGale to try and force a fight, to try and make it exciting, or make get close to Dirrell to try and land punches. And I just think he's going to be walking onto counters a lot, and it probably will be nip and tuck. But for me, I think if Dirrell's at his best, I think he's going to have a little bit too much for DeGale. But I mean, like we've all said, I think we all hope that DeGale can get the win because Dirrell he hasn't got a good style to watch. I mean, he's very good at what he does, but it's not an entertaining style, and it'd be good to have another British world champion.
It's been a bit of a strange experience for me this week because I'm really gunning for DeGale this time. I think that he he struggled with his media perspective when he first started, and he was certainly the villain in the Groves fight, and I remember that night vividly. I really wanted Groves to win, and we went wild when the decision went his way. I mean, how times have changed that I know there's been a Carl Froch intervention, but now I can't stand Groves, and DeGale was actually quite growing on me, and I think that'll be similar for quite a few fans up and down the country. Eddie's got hold of him and worked his magic in terms of Sky and getting his genuine personality out there a bit more, and we really do hope he can go over and get the job done. And there's obviously massive fights out there for him in the future. Talking of fights in the future, on Eddie Hearn's Daily Mail column this week, he said that he named 5 potential opponents. I thought 2 of them were genuine and really valid. Andre Ward, Carl Froch, and the other 3 he named were Julio Cesar Chavez, who got knocked out last time quite badly and is at the wrong weight. Bernard Hopkins, who's 50 years old and at the wrong weight, and Mikhail Kessler, who's actually retired. So that was some really good knowledge of the super middleweight division there.
It's more fucking casual baiting from that fucking twat, basically.
Why are they all obsessed with Chavez? I don't know what
He's
Chavez
shit
has
and
to.
he brings money. It's money,
Well,
money.
I suppose there's that. Yeah, he's not that good, and you can earn a lot of money for knocking him out. But yeah, talking about fighting Hopkins, who's older than my dad, fighting Chavez, who's done, too busy smoking weed and eating food. And
Who's not even as good as his dad, even now.
And Kessler, who hasn't had a fight, has he, since Froch?
He's retired. He's announced his retirement. Yeah, that's gone.
Just Kessler, sorry, just to remind everyone, including Alex, that has retired due to being cobraed.
Yeah, on that note,
you're cutting that out.
You're
cutting that out.
That's getting
can we get your predictions on the fight then? Paul, you first. What do you think's going to happen?
I'm gonna go for DeGale on points, but it's like I said, it's a real tough one, and it might be absolutely shit. Just warning people.
Adam?
Shit.
I don't think it'll be absolutely shit, to be honest. There's obvious potential for that on paper. Southpaws, both more comfortable counter-punching. I think it'll be an okay fight. I'm having to manage expectations amongst my casual boxing friends following the Mayweather-Pacquiao debacle. But I think DeGale wins. It's just like you say, the momentum is with him, and I actually think he can win by knockout as well, which is a decent bet.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be good odds on that because I don't think that. I mean, I can't see it myself. I think if anyone's the puncher, it's Dirrell in this. Alex, what's your prediction?
Tentatively DeGale points, close one.
Well, I'm going to be the odd one out. I'm going to go for Dirrell on points. And the good thing about it is, I mentioned earlier, I reckon it's going to be a bit of a shitfest fight. But luckily, it's not going to be on at 5 a.m. It's going to be on at around 9:30 our time. So, it'll keep us awake a bit easier, I suppose.
Certainly will.